The numbers on my second monitor were still blurring together when the notification slid across the top of my phone. I almost let it pass. I was halfway through reconciling Q3 actuals against the revised projection model, and my calendar had been blocked since 8 a.m. But something in the preview made my hand stop, finally blocking my toxic sister. Family is better without her drama. The username confirmed it. Simone. I tapped. Her post was longer than usual. It opened with that line and then spread into something that read like a public declaration dressed up as a personal breakthrough. Some people drain you no matter how much you give. Removing toxic energy from your life isn't abandonment. It's survival. It's choosing yourself. 51 likes, 22 comments. Cousins, old college friends. A few people I recognize from family gatherings. Heart emojis stacked on top of each other. Finally, you always deserved better. So proud of you for protecting your peace. I didn't scroll to the bottom. I leaned back in my chair and looked out at Chicago from the 24th floor. The city looked grey and distant, like a painting someone hadn't finished. I didn't feel rage. I didn't feel the urge to comment or respond or defend myself in the replies the way I might have at 24. I just reached for the desk phone. Angela, it's Vivian. The offer we extended to Simone Harlow yesterday. I need you to rescind it. A pause. She already accepted Vivian. We're building out her onboarding schedule now. Tell her the position has been eliminated. Budget restructuring. Is there something I should know about? A conflict of interest I became aware of this morning. Understood. I set the phone down. My tea had gone cold. I drank it anyway. 3 years ago, I founded Luminary Digital Group in a one-bedroom apartment in Wicker Park with $52,000 I had scraped together from 18 months of freelance consulting, 2 maxed credit cards I paid off in the same year, and a refusal to accept that the path I was on was going nowhere. We started as a brand strategy and digital consulting firm. Small, quiet, precise. I treated every client, a bakery owner, a regional law firm, a startup with 6 employees and a dream, like they were Fortune 500. I answered emails at midnight. I learned contracts, HR law, payroll processing, and client retention strategy from YouTube videos and $12 paperbacks I bought used. I used my mother's middle name, Harlow, for the business registration. At first it was a practical decision, clean separation. Later it became something more intentional. My family never really asked what I was building. Still doing that consulting thing? My dad would say at holidays, in the same tone you'd use to ask if someone was still doing their community theatre hobby. I'd nod and pass the rolls. They didn't ask about the office lease, or the team I was building, or the clients flying us out to present rebrand proposals. I don't think it was cruel. I think it was an assumption. To them, I was the younger daughter who hadn't finished her degree and hadn't quite landed anywhere solid. Simone was the one they talked about. She worked at a mid-sized marketing firm, pulled $68,000 a year, had a structured 401k and a title on her LinkedIn that sounded impressive at dinner parties. She once looked at me across the Thanksgiving table and said, "At some point you have to think about stability, Viv. Freelancing is just delaying the real conversation." I smiled. I let it land. I didn't correct her. The honest truth is she was talented. She knew how to position a brand, how to build a pitch, how to walk into a room and make people believe in a product before the slides even loaded. She just had a blind spot the size of a highway for anything that didn't fit the story she'd already written about who mattered. 6 months ago, our team began searching for a director of brand strategy. I quietly forwarded Simone's portfolio to Angela under a neutral referral. No name attached to mine. Let the work speak. She cleared 3 rounds of interviews. She beat out 52 other candidates. She earned the role on her own merit. She just didn't know who had opened the first door. She still thought I was outside somewhere, figuring things out. She had no idea I was the one who built the building she was about to walk into. Yesterday, she walked through that door with her head high. Today, she was going to learn that the door had a lock she never saw coming. By noon the following day, Simone's Instagram had shifted to grayscale aesthetics and ambient grief. Sometimes the ground disappears right when you thought you'd finally found it. Then, 2 hours later, the universe always has a reason, even when it hurts. No specifics, no company name, just curated suffering designed to gather sympathy without requiring accountability. The same people who had applauded her for cutting me off were now flooding her comments with broken heart emojis and affirmations. Hang in there, babe. Something better is coming. I don't let it break you. My cousin Priya wrote, maybe it was that toxic energy finally clearing your path, sis. I didn't respond. I didn't refresh the page a second time. At 2:47 p.m., my mother called. Vivian. I just saw Simone's posts. She's very upset. I saw them too. Her job offer was rescinded. Do you know anything about that? I let the question breathe. I already knew what the conversation was. It wasn't about information. It was about positioning. She seems to think that maybe your energy somehow played a role. My energy. She's hurting, Vivian. You know how she gets. She called me toxic in front of every person we've ever shared a dinner table with. She announced to the world that our family is healthier without me in it. She doesn't always mean what she posts. She meant it enough to leave it up. A pause. Maybe you could reach out. Be the bigger person here. I was the bigger person. I didn't respond publicly. I didn't humiliate her in return. But I'm not going to fix something I didn't break. Families go through rough patches. That doesn't... She didn't describe a rough patch, Mom. She described a decision. My mother sighed the way she always sighed when reality became inconvenient. She's just going through a lot. I ended the call before anything else came out of my mouth. What I couldn't stop thinking about afterward was why grief always caused people to revise the timeline. Why my silence looked like coldness, but hers looked like bravery. Why when Simone suffered it was a story worth collecting hearts for, but when I simply stopped absorbing it, I became the problem. At 5:24 p.m., her name lit up my screen. Hey, I know things are weird between us, but I'm kind of falling apart right now, and I don't really have anyone else. The job got pulled. Can you call me? I stared at the message for a long moment. I sent a screenshot. Her post, her words, her caption, her 51 likes. You said the family is better without me. She responded in under a minute. That was just venting. I didn't mean it literally. I sent the second screenshot, the caption. Finally cutting off my toxic sister. You named me Simone. 3 dots. Gone. Then, I was having a terrible week. I wasn't in a good place. And now that something's fallen apart for you, you want the sister you called toxic to catch you. Vivian, please. I just need someone to talk to right now. No. You need someone to act like this morning didn't happen. You're being too sensitive. And that was the sentence that settled everything. You turned me into content. You made my existence a prop in your narrative. And now that you're struggling, you want empathy from the prop. You want my support in private after you dismissed me in public. No response for several minutes. I'm really going through it right now. Can we please not do this today? I set the phone down, and for the first time in a long time, I let the silence stay without rushing to fill it. The following evening I answered her call. Her voice arrived soft and fractured, the kind of soft that comes after a person has spent a day deciding how to sound humble without fully surrendering. Vivienne, I'm sorry. I was in a bad place and I took it out on you. I know it wasn't right. I listened. She moved through the admission carefully, like someone stepping across ice, testing each word before putting weight on it. I know I hurt you. I know I was wrong to say those things publicly. You didn't think it would matter, I said quietly, because you assumed I had nothing to lose. Silence. What actually made you post that? I asked. What were you really upset about? She exhaled. Work, mostly. And this feeling that mom and dad tiptoe around you like you're made of glass, but nobody ever notices when I'm the one quietly keeping everything from falling apart. I nearly laughed. You think they're worried about me? They talk about you like every decision you make might be your last good one, she said. Like you need protecting. And it used to make me angry because I thought, why does she get their concern when she doesn't even have a plan? I held that. And that bothered you because you thought I didn't deserve it. No, she said. It bothered me because I never felt like they noticed me unless something went wrong. I was just expected to be fine. A long pause. What was the company called? I asked. The one that rescinded the offer. She answered without hesitating. Luminary Digital Group. It's a brand strategy firm growing really fast. The CEO is supposed to be this woman who built everything herself from nothing. The role would have genuinely changed my life. I waited one beat. Simone. That's my company. I'm the CEO. I founded Luminary 3 years ago. The line went completely silent. What? I've been running it since I was 29. We just cleared 9.2 million in annual revenue this year. Her breathing changed. But you were doing freelance work. You were just... I was. And then I became something else. And nobody asked. A long silence. So the whole time I was interviewing. You were interviewing to work for the sister you'd just publicly called toxic, yes. I didn't know. I know you didn't. That's the whole point. I wouldn't have... She stopped. Wouldn't have what? Applied if you knew? Or said what you said if you knew? She didn't answer, and the silence of that non-answer told me more than anything else she could have said. 2 weeks passed. I didn't reach out. I didn't block her either. I just gave the distance room to do what distance sometimes does. She posted something I almost scrolled past. No aesthetic. No quote font. Just plain text. I said things that were unkind and untrue about someone I love. I said them publicly, and I'm owning that. I was wrong. Not in a complicated way, just wrong, no names. But it was enough. Later, I found out she'd started volunteering with a workforce re-entry nonprofit on the North Side. Resume coaching, mock interviews, helping people who'd been laid off or passed over rebuild their footing. I saw her name in a tagged photo, sitting beside an older woman at a folding table, going line by line through a cover letter, no performance in her posture. Just attention. She didn't text me. She just kept showing up there. A week after that, she posted, "Humility isn't retreat. It's the first honest step." I didn't comment. I didn't look away either. Angela stopped me by the elevators one Thursday. "I keep seeing your sister's name on that employment outreach bulletin," she said. "The volunteer program over on Halstead. Thought you'd want to know." I nodded, said nothing. Wasn't ready to rewrite anything yet, but I couldn't pretend I hadn't noticed. We met at the coffee shop 2 blocks from the park, where our mother used to take us on Sunday mornings when we were small. I didn't choose it on purpose, but when I sat down, I felt the weight of the coincidence settle over the table like weather. Simone was 5 minutes late. No makeup, no angle, just a grey coat and the particular stillness of a person who has run out of performances. "Thank you for coming," she said. I nodded, waited. "I know you're not here for another apology. Say what you came to say." She looked at her hands. I thought I was doing everything correctly. The career path, the savings, the LinkedIn presence. I thought if I just kept building the right visible version of success, eventually someone would actually see me. She paused. "And then you dropped out and went quiet, and they still hovered over you. And I couldn't make sense of it. So you decided the problem was me. I decided that discrediting you was easier than admitting I was jealous. Not of your life, of the way they worried about you." She looked up. "I wanted to matter enough to be worried about. That landed. And the way you chose to matter," I said, "was to erase me in front of everyone who already questioned whether I was worth taking seriously." Her jaw tightened. "I know. I told myself I was setting a boundary. I was really just pointing a spotlight somewhere that wasn't at me. You assumed I was harmless because you assumed I had nothing." Yes. The word cost her something. I could see that. And if I had still been in that apartment, I said, "Would you be sitting here?" She didn't look away. "No, probably not. And that's the thing I'm most ashamed of." I studied her for a long moment, not looking for an exit in her eyes, not finding one. "We've never actually had a real relationship," I said. "I know. So maybe the question isn't how we go back to what we had. Maybe it's whether we're willing to build something we never actually built." She exhaled slowly. "I don't expect you to trust me. I'm just asking if there's a place to start." "There's here," I said. "That's all I can offer right now." We didn't hug. We didn't make promises neither of us could keep. But we didn't pretend either. For us, that was new. We sat our parents down on a Sunday with no occasion attached, no birthday buffer, no holiday noise, just the four of us around a table with coffee going cold. I opened my laptop and turned the screen toward them. "This is my company," I said. "I've been running it for 3 years." My father leaned in, squinting. "You built this?" "I founded it. We crossed 9.2 million in revenue this year. We have 41 full-time employees." My mother's hand moved to her mouth. "Why didn't you tell us?" she whispered. I looked at her. "You never asked." The table went quiet in a particular way. Not empty quiet. Full quiet. Simone said, "She's right. None of us asked. We assumed." My father looked between us. "But all those years we thought you were—" "We were worried." "I know you were," I said. "I let you think what you thought. And then I waited to see what you'd say, once you thought I had nothing to offer." My mother reached for my hand. "We see you, Vivian. We do." And I believed she meant it. I believed she believed it. But there's a difference between seeing someone once the trophy is in the room and having looked for them when the room was empty. I smiled at her anyway. Some lessons don't need to be said out loud twice. The people who were paying attention already heard it the first time.